topic of red pill versus blue pill is a pretty relevant one at the moment, and particularly this analogy from the Matrix as a symbol or as an analogy for awakening, which is a pretty broad term and one that's actually starting to be a little bit misused in some ways, but that's not the topic for today. We'll be talking about this comparison between the blue pill and the red pill. Now, of course, in the famous film The Matrix, this is a black and white analogy in the sense that you're either awake or you're either asleep. And I feel that where we are in this process of the Great Awakening, that this is actually not entirely correct. And of course, as I always maintain, there are different levels and layers to the awakening process. But what we're particularly seeing playing out on a global scale at the moment is this understanding of the manipulation of human consciousness through the mainstream media starting to really fragment. Now, the mainstream media have been in decline with readership, with circulation, with viewers for quite a considerable amount of time now. The statistics show that the mainstream media really is, for a number of reasons actually, in decline. Where this actually ends up in about 10 years from now, we don't know, but we do know that trust in the mainstream media has declined with good reason. And really what we see now is this difficult process that people are going through where they're now clearly not trusting the mainstream media as we were traditionally conditioned to, but then making that journey, that awakening process to trust other forms of information. Now, ultimately, the most important person to trust or form of information to trust or discernment is yourself. And this is what people are really starting to learn on their journey of awakening, that they need to be responsible for their own research, that they need to take responsibility for their own opinions, views, and values. And this is proving to be quite challenging for a lot of people that I've seen, because of the indoctrination and the conditioning to simply view what they're seeing on the TV as being the truth. Now, there have been multiple occasions, even in the last few weeks, where the mainstream media has been caught out extremely obviously and blatantly twisting images or controlling the narrative, or at least attempting to, particularly in regard to the crisis that we're experiencing now. So that is what this process of awakening really is, and no one else can do it for you. But I would maintain that this idea of blue pill, red pill is not actually entirely correct, because the journey of awakening is a process. Now, what I'm seeing in the last few weeks, month, whatever time frame you want to give it, is that there are people that took the red pill years ago, maybe decades ago. You know, they are actually pretty centered and balanced during this and are quite aware of the global agenda, aware of what's transpiring, and it's not really any surprising to them at all. There are other people that thought they took the red pill, but it's turning out that they actually didn't, whether they thought it was a sort of fashion thing or some sort of trendy thing to do. It's unclear, but they clearly haven't gone through this shift in consciousness where they're actually more personally empowered and are still in this childlike state where they're looking to the government, the media, whoever, to maintain their worldview and support their own cognitive dissonance as we go through this process. Now, these people are the ones who are struggling the most, it can be argued, and of course the more general people that have still just decided to take the blue pill, because now they're starting to realize that their restrictions, their freedoms, their liberties, all the things that have taken for granted have just disappeared. And that's triggering a lot of people in a lot of different ways. So there is that category as well to consider. Then there's the people that took the red pill and spat it out, because the truth is very difficult to digest. And that's a topic for another video, what to do in that scenario if that's relevant for you. But what we're really starting to see is that it's shades of grey. So what I would say, if you're in the awakening community watching this and you're posting information, don't give up on people, because people can turn around, but it may take them a long time. Not everyone is going to. Some people are actually very dependent on the system, whether they work in institutions or however, they are really dependent on the system, and we all are to a certain degree if you think of it in that context, but they're very comfortable. And this is not going to be an option for much longer, because this is only the beginning of the really big things of the awakening. And we're going to see that everyone's going to get taken out of their comfort zone. This is inevitable. I mean, many people that took the red pill some time ago, they've been out of their comfort zone to embrace these beliefs, this worldview, and simply deprogram their mind from the norm, because the norm is basically a lie. And the values and some of the practices that are going on just generally in our society, it's all part of the conditioning, the indoctrination, part of the matrix, if you want to consider it like that, to really keep you obedient and numb, to keep you dumbed down, to keep you ignorant, and to keep you pacified and controlled. And we can see that this process of what we're going through now is, I feel, going to be looked at as the apex, the pinnacle, the summit of all of this agenda. Because, as I'll detail in next videos, is that, in my view, this is going to end. I feel that the global agenda has made a critical tactical error that cannot be undone. And you will see more and more people getting the red pill, taking the red pill, searching the red pill for the red pill. And in my view, this is inevitable. I've been speaking about this for some time, but I didn't ever know what the actual domino or the catalyst would be to create this mass consumption of the red pill. So the process that people are going through with this red pill, blue pill analogy, it's like the conditioning, the programming, the indoctrination, it's literally breaking down. And it doesn't happen like in the film in one go. You may see something that you look back on that is like a major trigger for you, a major catalyst. But my experience of watching people around me and watching the awakening community and being a part of that is that it doesn't happen in one go. It's shades of grey. It's like a sunrise, if you want to think of this, that it is a process. So you have to allow people to go through that journey themselves, support them. Of course, there's some people that are just never going to get the point. When you put facts in front of them, they're in this limbic brain state where they're in a state of fear, which means that their focus narrows, and they're basically looking for two things, really, essentially: survival and security. We all want security, and we all are programmed at an instinctual way to survive. But there are people, and they don't realize that they're actually in a very, very deep state of fear that is borderlining on panic, even at some times, and just general anxiety ranging from low levels to medium levels. That's basically continued through this process because they keep watching the mainstream media. And what is the mainstream media doing to you? It is traumatizing you. It is traumatizing you by design. It is indoctrinating you. It is shaping your worldview, your values, your opinions. And you perhaps do not even realize that this is occurring. And this is why, to break down from this control system, and the mainstream media is their greatest tool of all. Why? Because at a planetary level, everybody is basically in lockdown and watching this TV, looking to this TV to be the source of wisdom, of truth, of information, of knowledge. It is none of those things. Once you've taken the red pill completely, you will see that basically the propaganda that's coming out in the mainstream media is incorrect by and large. Not completely, but what we're going through now, you can see the statistics, the cracks are appearing in the official story. And as I said, this is a critical tactical error that has been made that cannot be undone. And not only that, is that all these people that are now at home, they're actually researching all the things they're seeing on social media, on the internet and so on. So there's plenty of time for people to digest the red pill fully, completely, and go through this process of awakening, which we're all undergoing. We're all a work in progress. So stay tuned for more. There's plenty more to talk about. My God, we are living through the most incredible times. We live in epic times.